and they'll be like, okay, so yes, we want you for the project, and they agree a fee with you, they've signed a contract with you, everything. But after they've reached a certain stage and they feel they've gotten enough information, they will somehow find an excuse to either drop you from that project, like just go like AWOL somehow, or, terminate a contract, because they find that they use deception to get you on the project, because you were supposed to stay there till the end. They signed a contract, they agreed a fee, got what they wanted, and they don't see need for you anymore. So they've taken you off the project. So I do find that has happened a couple of times.
Welcome to the Studio Little Bold podcast, where vision meets execution, creativity finds clarity, and mentorship unlocks potential. I'm your host, Abigail Osidiana, and this is the space for designers, dreamers, and change makers looking to build bold ideas and shape the future of interior design. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today I have Jaz on set. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Oh, please tell us who you are, what you're currently doing, and all the good stuff, yeah?
Okay, I'll try.
You'll try, and then everything else, we're going to pick it up from there.
Okay.
Cool.
So my name is Jaz Gharial. I'm an interior designer. I've been in the industry for over 15 years now. I started off with a job many years ago, which I think after my studies was supposed to be a temporary thing, because I had done a higher national diploma, which was supposed to be the break between going to uni and, starting off. So I was supposed to finish my higher national diploma and then go to university. But in the meantime, because I had a couple of months to kill time, I got a job as a junior interior designer. And when I started that job, I realized that I'm really enjoying what I'm doing.
Really?
And I didn't go to university then. I got my job through my higher national diploma credentials. And then I carried on from there.
Who connected you to the interior design job, or did you know about it?
No, so what I did was, because I had finished my education, I had time to kill, I was doing a lot of research. And then I spoke to a lot of people, and I have a friend of mine who's in the joinery business. So I happened to speak to him because I'm like, he probably works a lot with interior designers, so he probably knows somebody. And then he hooked me up to my first ever job.
All through now, you stayed there for how long? This first job?
I was there for a couple of years, probably close to 4 years. Yes, and then after that, I left the job and I started my own company.
Wow.
Yeah, but in between, what happened was I kind of wanted to leave because I felt there was no growth in the company.
What did that mean to you? What did growth look to you in that moment?
So because I was very new in the industry that time, I was learning. I learned a lot on the job, much more than what I was learning while I was studying. So when I was working, I did realize that me, along with my colleagues, we were really putting in a lot of effort. Each one of us had a department that we were handling.
At
that point, yes, because the company that I was working for had we had hospitality, we had high-end residentials, we had a little bit of commercial, but because the residential and the hospitality was a very big part of the portfolio, one designer was handling the hospitality under the lead designer, and then one designer was handling residentials. So we did need to separate because there was just that much work. So after putting in all that effort, you realize that even though you're trying really hard to get somewhere, there is no way you're going. You're just
here.
There's no finish line, basically. It's just you're working and working and working, but you're never going to progress beyond a certain point, because there was no hierarchy in that firm. So it was just the owner was where it stops. There was nothing you could not, maybe over time eventually there might have been a conversation where you could have probably invested in the company and, done that. But at that age, you're so much younger. You don't have that kind of capital to invest in there. So you're looking at growth in a much more different way, more in a title.
So was there growth in monetary terms?
No.
So there was nothing.
No, it only reached a certain point. But to be fair, I'm not trying to say that it was a bad paying job for that. I mean, being my first job especially, the money was decent because I mean I didn't have what I would call major responsibilities at that point. I was single. I was living with my parents, as do a lot of Indian kids. So I was living with my family, and I didn't have expenses. I didn't have rent and all that stuff. So to be fair, that money was literally just going in my pocket. So I'm not going to complain about the money. I probably would regret not using that money wisely. But again, when you're that young and you've just been given the liberty to earn and you've just become independent, you make some bad decisions.
And it's exciting.
It's exciting, exactly. But you learn from them. A little too late, but you learn from them. Yeah.
I also blew all the money I made in those.
I think we've all done that at some point, yes. Yeah.
So now you leave and you start your own thing. At this point, wait, before we even move forward, what was interesting about this? Because you're doing it was higher diploma and you're also working.
No, I had already completed my higher national diploma.
Oh, okay, you're waiting to go to uni.
I completed it, yes, and I wanted to go to university in the UK. But what happened in the meantime was I got the job. And then I didn't go to university. I ended up staying. I think the thrill of being independent and not having to go to university and have a degree, because I mean, let's be honest, when we were growing up, we were told you're not going to get a job without a degree.
Yeah.
You need to have a degree to make a mark in this world. But here I was with a job.
So what am I doing?
Yeah, and I had a higher national diploma, and I'm like, okay, so I don't need my degree. And I was learning a lot. I mean, the director of our company back then, I still have a lot of respect for her to date. I still think of her as my mentor. I think majority of what I've learned in my career comes from her, because she was amazing at what she used to do, and I learned a lot from her. So I just feel that, and I think this might be true for a lot of people that are starting out. You will find that school teaches you certain things. University teaches you certain things. But in the real life, in the real world, it doesn't teach you what you actually need. Right? Those are things those are only lessons you're going to learn as you live your life, as you experience things, go into different projects, meet different people, because you're literally thrown into the deep end when you go get a job, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you learn then.
This time, 4 years in that place, how was it adjusting to hierarchy? How was it adjusting to teams? Now everyone is handling a department and stuff. How was it navigating? Because you were quite young at that point.
Yeah, I was in my, I'd say mid-ish, early-ish 20s. But the really funny thing is, as much as I'm making it sound like this firm was humongous because of departments, it was a really tiny space. There was a director's office, which had a couch and a really nice, table, and a little library where we used to keep all our library materials. And then there was a little studio where we were 3 designers, and each one had a desk, and we were so close by to each other, and we were like a tight-knit family, to be honest. Oh, and there was an admin lady as well. So she was at the front of the office. But I mean, we could just talk to her like just from where we were sitting, because it was a cozy little space.
Yeah.
But
I love that you use the word cozy.
It really was. It really was like a really cozy setup. And it was actually at the back of somebody's house. So it was like a little, like a DSQ that's been converted into an office space. Yeah. But the really good thing is that, considering that was my first job, you're very nervous when you start out, because you don't know who you're going to meet, how people are going to treat you. You don't know these things, right? So you just go in there, like thinking like, okay, let's see what happens. And like I said, we were all thrown into the deep end, which I think makes us who we are as designers today. And that goes for my ex-colleagues as well. I've seen they're still practicing today and doing amazingly well. And I think a lot of it does go back to how we were taught back then. So I think as a team, we worked really well, especially us in the studio, because our director wasn't in like a lot of the time because she was probably handling like the projects outside. So if we were not having meetings, we were all in the office together. And if, let's say, I was running back on a deadline and I've not met my deadline and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. My colleagues would always step in and say, you know what, Jaz, we're here to help you. And likewise, it would always work the same way. Even if that meant you're working overtime, whatever it is, if you had to help somebody, you always step forward. And I think that's really important, because being in the design world, being a team player is very important, because you realize that when you're always part of some kind of team. In the design world. Actually, a lot of
places, whether it's in the consultants team, whether it's in the team in your office, it's a lot.
Like when you get onto a project, like if you're building a house or whatever project you're doing right now, and you get your consultants on board. Our goals from you to the consultants to the contractor, everybody, our goal at the end of the day is still the same. The goalpost doesn't shift for anyone. It's always going to be the same thing. So if we're not going to be team players, that project is obviously going to be in a mess, right? So I think it's very, very important. And I do think for the newcomers now in that are starting out their journey right now, I would really stress to them to learn how to be team players.
Team players.
You know, a lot of them are very hot-blooded people. They have this... It's I know. And it's good to have that attitude. I really do think confidence is great. It's a very good thing to have, especially, again, as interior designers. That's what makes you sell yourself as well, is you need to have that confidence. But at the same time, it's also good to listen, and it's also good to take a breath and be part of a team, understand how systems work, understand why you are where you are. I think that's really important.
Understand why you're where you are. That's a good one. Yeah?
Yeah. Like, I mean, not in a bad way, but...
Yeah, and I get it.
Yeah.
If you're here, you also... You know, maybe you're not the most experienced. What are you learning? What are you taking away? What are you contributing? Okay.
Yes.
At this level, maybe you're supervising. What are your responsibilities?
Yes.
Are you taking the hit for your juniors? Because you can't be saying, no, it wasn't me. It was
so and so.
It was so and so.
That's now not a team player.
Yeah.
And it's okay to start from the bottom up. Everybody starts from the bottom up. And you should never feel embarrassed or to tell somebody, oh, you know, I have to start as a junior. We all start as juniors, you know, and a lot of people are still juniors, but it's okay, because that's how you learn. You know, you work your way up from there. If somebody just picks you up and says, okay, here, you're a director now. I mean, that doesn't make sense, right? You need the experience. You need to learn.
So at least that environment wasn't political. It was very team-oriented, very helpful, like a family, kind of close-knit family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still keep in touch with all the people that I worked with back then. Yeah. I did also end up working with part of that team for about 5 years recently. Because I was part of that company again at some point. But we still have very good relations to date. I don't have anything bad to say about my experience from my first job.
Surprising? What was surprising?
What was really surprising was that what I actually learned was not what I was going to be doing. Like how, you know, we were taught how to draw, you know, you need your easel and, you know, your T-square. And that wasn't what we were doing. Like, I mean, you're on site and there's no way you're going to be like, hang on, let me just set up. You know, let me get my, you know, easel out, my T-square, my, you know, my technical pens out. Let me start sketching something for you. It was like, there's drama on a site. Somebody needs a detail. All you have to do is, okay, get the instruction book and you're there sketching away. Yeah. You know?
And you move on.
And it wasn't like, okay, you know, somebody like doing that. But, I mean, there were really good surprises. Like, you realize when you're being asked, a client comes to you. I mean, obviously, because you're part of the design team. So they're not looking at you like, oh, you know, she doesn't know what she's talking about. They've actually honestly come to you for an opinion.
Yeah.
and you give them an opinion and you give them your advice and they take it.
Yeah.
And I think for me that was very
Shocking.
motivating, and
Oh.
it made me feel very good because I was like, okay, so I said something right, and
Yeah.
the client ran with it. So that gives you a good boost. So I think it's also very nice to be able to be expressive.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to be expressive. Even as young as, even if you're new at something, it's good to give your ideas because, I mean, we're all very different. Even though we might all be interior designers, each one of us is different. How we see a space can never be the same.
Yeah.
So it's good to be expressive.
So this one, you're heading the team, the team, yeah? The department, let me call it, the department. Were you going up to site? Were you going to site?
Yes, absolutely, which was the best part. I always say one thing, even to my team to date, that try as much as possible to get the experience to go to site, because site is where the real experience is. Yes, you're going to be sitting at a computer, you're drawing out this, and everything. You're trying to get the dimensions right. And you see, it's a computer. It's obviously going to make it perfect for you. Your renders are going to make it look perfect for you. But site is where the real drama is happening. So that's where you want to be, because that's where, yes, your drawing says you're building a room 4 meters by 4 meters. But when you go to site, you realize, oh, wait, hang on. This can't be done because of A. Exactly. So something or the other always pops up. And what that helps with is problem-solving skills. Because you go to site and you realize, okay, wait, hang on the computer, everything's perfect. But now I'm on site and I need to do this and it's not going according to plan. What do I do now? And you won't always have your seniors to help you out.
You're there on your own.
There's going to be multiple times you're there on your own. And the best thing to do is breathe and think very rationally. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? And then handle it how you would handle any other problem. And you realize 1 problem, 2 problem, and before you know it, this becomes a way of life for you.
How did you start building that muscle, the problem solving on site, knowing that this is so new to you? You're not, is it that you used to go with someone on site? Is it that you had a specific routine to prepare for the meeting? How do you used to do it?
So initially, for the first few times on a project, we used to go with the director herself. And she'd take you and everything. But obviously, because she was also handling like every other project that the company had, so she had to be present at most of the meetings, which meant she couldn't always be with you at the meetings that you're attending. So that's why I was saying you are thrown into the deep end. Because you have to go and attend meetings. You are representing your company. So,
you didn't have like a methodology. Why I ask this is I remember my first... let me call it employment. I also say I give a lot of credit to her, the director, because it was also a very small firm and she was very thorough. But also, like right from internship, it was like I remember I was given a whole hotel, like a 10-story as an intern, not knowing anything, And I think she took me to site 2 times. After that, I was on my own.
Wow.
Yeah? So it was so intimidating because like the client was an engineer, civil engineer. Most of the consultants, it was just like engineers. I was the only lady. I was the youngest. I was female. Like there was a lot of hindrances. And I remember he used to just look at me like, you don't know anything, because he would ask things that I actually just don't know.
Which
you
is
don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And he was very hot-tempered. So he'd scream and yell. So every time I'd go for that meeting, I'd have anxiety. Like,
I can imagine,
I used to be like, oh my God, I just see a message, we have a meeting on Tuesday. I'm like, oh my God, now what to do? But now I formed a methodology of how to deal with it. So I used to ask, this week, what's going on site? For example, they say, I always use this example of tiles. Is the easiest thing to explain, So we are laying tiles and we want to set them out, something like that. So I'm like, okay, that's what's going on. So I'd ask my colleagues, what do you ask? What do you check? What do you look at? How are they supposed to be?
Yes.
Then when I go for the meeting, they're asking me and I tell them, no, it's not supposed to be done like this. So you see, it's not information that I had.
Yes.
It's someone else who taught me. Eventually, that particular colleague was like, no, you know what, Abigail? Like, you're on your own. Like, Google is your friend. Like, stop asking me, in essence. I started now just, researching. What are the steps? What's the process? So by the time I'm going to the meeting, I would never go to a meeting without an agenda.
Good.
I would never go for so that's why I was asking, like, did you have a methodology that maybe we can share with the viewers?
So, well, most of the projects that I've worked on and still work on to date, we always have, for example, you always have a program of works to start with.
Correct.
So you always know at what phase your project is at. Everybody knows. All your consultants, the whole team knows where you're at, right? And then you yourself have minutes from your last meeting. So you know already that at our last meeting, our minutes state that we did A, B, and C. What is pending? What is not done? You have your whole agenda already.
For everyone, this consultant,
exactly. So you already have that. And I do think that really helps because every time you go for a meeting, like you said, you had to have the agenda, which meant that maybe there was nobody issuing your minutes for you, because when you usually have your minutes or your program of works and things like that, it already indicates for you what is happening. And plus, with all, I think ever since I've started working, you always make a point to go to site even when you don't have a meeting at some point. So you know, okay, this is what's happening.
The meeting before the meeting.
Exactly. So that by the time the meeting, because usually a project usually has bi-weekly meetings, right? Or depending on what stage.
Weekly sometimes,
yeah, depending on what stage the project is at. So you make sure that you've been to site before that meeting is called for. So you're already on track, and you can check from the minutes as well. Okay, so this was at this stage, which means it's here. So I can then update the team when we have our meetings. Because remember, on site, you get two types of meetings. You get a site meeting and then you get a site inspection. So if you're doing an inspection, that's okay because you're walking around and you can physically see this is what's happening, this is what's happening. But usually in a site meeting, nobody's walking around. Yes, you get to site, you'll probably do a run through and everything, but then you come back and you sit at a table and you have a meeting. So then you're updating, like you'll ask me, okay, so where are we at with the tile layout? I'll be like, okay, so they've set them out, they've done this, I'll update you according to that. So that's how I think I would prepare myself, is just read through and have a site visit and run through these things, and it prepares you for these meetings.
Yeah, so don't get shocked. Don't go to the meeting being shocked with everyone else. Like, oh, I don't know, let's go together. Like, you look like you're not serious.
Yeah,
also.
You should always know where you're at, always, because that says a lot about you as a designer. Think about it. If I went for a site meeting and my client turns to me and says, Jaz, where are we at with, for example, the tiling? And I'll be like, I don't know, hold on a second, let me go and check it out. And I'll come back and tell. That just shows that I'm not really on top of my job. So that's why I said to you, it's really important, make a site visit before the meeting, because you've done a run through, you know where you're at. So when you're asked a question, you can easily answer it, right?
Yeah. Cool. So you stay at this place, teamwork is good, you're learning a lot. Site, you already know what the agenda is, you've prepared based on the minutes, you're good to go, you've had your meeting before the meeting.
Yes.
Tell me, how was it interacting with the fundis?
That was a very interesting experience, because you always get, and again, it's true even to date, fundis are a different breed altogether. You get the ones that teach you a lot, because they're really, really good and particular about the way they work, and you learn a lot from them, because you'll draw a detail. And it's the same for contractors, subcontractors, fundis, and all of them. You draw these details. Again, like I said, on computer, everything looks perfect, because you've got this idea, you've put it down on paper, and you think, I'm a star, I got it. And then comes to the implementation and you think, oh, it's a piece of cake. But that's where the real work happens, and that's where the drama happens. And I think these fundis are what teaches you a lot, about patience as well.
Hey, tell me about the patience.
So that's, you do learn quite a few things from the fundis. So they are, like I said, there are a few that you learn, okay, like, I've drawn this, Jaz, you cannot do it this way, because this is what happens if I join it this way, or if I fix this way.
Well, there's no channel that's this size.
Exactly. So I would suggest, and there are fundis that have come to me and said, Jaz, I suggest we do A, B, and C. And I love that. I love that you get fundis that own their space.
Also,
I love that.
Just waiting.
Because I think it makes life for everybody else a lot easier, and it guarantees a smooth flowing project, because you want to work with people like that, right? So then you get your fair share of people who will just try their luck at just about the fundis that just try their luck. And I think those are the ones that try your patience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely, utterly.
Yeah.
Cool. So you leave this particular place, you feel like, okay, my time here is done. I want to start my own thing. What's your first step?
So funny enough, when I left this company, I actually joined another company that was specializing in sanitary fittings and Italian kitchens.
Ooh.
So there was a showroom, they needed a general manager and somebody with an interior design background. And I happened to have met the owners of this place just coincidentally through a social gathering. So when I met them, I told them a bit about my background, and I had already been thinking about leaving this other company because I just felt like I don't belong anymore. I mean, nothing to do with the team.
Yeah.
I just personally felt it was no longer my calling.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to move on. And I remember then meeting this other, the owners of the other company. And we had a long chat. They called me in for like a very, like a basic interview. And they were happy with, me joining like immediately.
From the basic interview.
Yeah. And I remember it was December time. And they were there was obviously, because it was like Christmas time and everything. So they said, we'll start back in January. And then they sent me to Italy in January for training. So the kitchen company that was, that we were selling kitchens for, I had to go to their factory in Italy and train.
For how long?
It was only a week long, but I had to actually learn, obviously how the manufacturing process happens and then also how to install a kitchen. Even though I was not going to be installing them myself, but I had to know it because you were selling, an Italian branded kitchen. Yeah. So you had to know how to install it. Should there be any reason? And plus the training process that you had to bring back for your fundis, right? So you need to know so that you pass on that knowledge. So I did do my training there. I stayed on with that company for a couple of years. But while I was there, there was a client who had come in to buy a kitchen for his development. And he happened to have mentioned that, I'm looking for an interior designer. And I said, you're lucky because I'm an interior designer. And I wasn't practicing at that point, obviously, because I was running a showroom.
This is like sales.
Sales, exactly. So I wasn't practicing at this point, but I was finding a way to get out, back
How long
into
were
it.
there? How long were you there, first of all, before this client now?
I think I was there for about 2-3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But while I was there, then I got this break of interior design because this client comes and I said, okay, so I can help you out. And he goes, oh, really? He goes, okay, perfect, because you're also doing the kitchens. So you can help with the design and, also the rest of the project. I said, yeah, good idea. And then the directors of this company were nice enough to let me register an interior design company because they found it benefits them as well. Because if I have a client, then they can get their products sold into those projects that we're working on. So it was an I scratch your back, you scratch my back situation, which worked for all of us.
For everyone.
Exactly. So from that one client, I started meeting a second and then a third. And then slowly I realized I actually don't want to be part of sales and retail anymore. I want to focus on interior design.
So they never thought, conflict of interest at any point?
No point, no.
Oh, wow. It's so hard to get that.
It is. It is. Also, I think because they did see it was benefiting them as well. Because the clients that wanted, who were coming to me were mostly developers at that point. So they were doing like, obviously multi-story buildings and stuff. So, the orders that they would be getting would be much larger than individual houses.
Oh, wow. Is there anyone on that particular team? Were there other designers? Were there designers at all?
I did eventually have to hire a junior designer.
While you're there?
While I was there, because what we used to do is we had a special program to design kitchens. So I used to do the design for the kitchens. But then because it had become a lot of work for me to do that alone and run the showroom at the same time, I did hire an interior designer who actually she was really good with the kitchen layouts. So she got the hang of it really well. So she could sit in meetings, take notes, because in kitchens, there's certain sizes we work with, and that software was very easy to work with. You just had to like draw the outlines and put your sizes in, and you were good to go. So she became really good at that, and she was a big help. And I think for her, I'm hoping she did benefit from.
I'm just stunned at this point that you're an employee employing an employee and running your business. Oh my gosh, that dynamic is so crazy.
Well, you get all sorts, to be fair. I mean, it all depends on who, like the owners of the company, to be honest, were also like one of the guys who was there, to be fair. I mean, he was quite open-minded. He was a young guy as well. And I think because he also came from a background where he had to start from, basically sales and, start from the bottom up. He understood what it means to be juggling and, trying their hand at something or the other. So I think his mindset was a bit more open to the idea that, okay, it's okay if Jaz is, yes, she's here, but she's also got that happening on the side. I mean, they did obviously tell me that as long as it's not, affecting your running of the showroom and you're working on your interior design stuff, it's absolutely fine. But I had to obviously create that balance.
How are you doing it?
So just to clarify, the interior designer I had hired was not for me, as for my personal company.
Yes, I know it's for this other one, but you...
Yeah, so I was not using her for any of my projects at that point.
But now how are you separating? Because it's such a thin line.
No, you can't separate it, because you see what happens is with the company I was working for, that was only the retail stuff, like only sanitary fittings and kitchens. The rest of the design and implementation and everything came from me. That was completely separate, which was part of my then company.
Got it. Because they don't care about bedrooms and other things.
Nothing else. Because they were not doing any wardrobes or any other kind of joinery. It was specifically kitchens and sanitary fittings. That's it.
How are you balancing your time? So where I'm talking, I want to talk to an interior designer who perhaps has a similar dynamic. Maybe they also have an open-minded boss, or how are they balancing it? How are you doing it?
Well, to be fair, again, back then, this is I was not a mom at that point. I was single again at that point. I had time. You're very energetic at that point. Life is good. Like, you don't have any restrictions, right? The older you get, it's different because you have different responsibilities. At that point, I think I was just very determined to make something out of myself. I was a lot younger. I'm being given the opportunity to do it. So why would I screw up, right? If I screwed it up, that would just, I'd be the one that would fall on my face, nobody else.
So you're splitting like on weekdays, or is it a weekend? I'm doing this.
No, I only used to work Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday was my time to now go and live my 20s life, party.
As a salesperson?
Saturdays we used to, on appointment only on Saturdays.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense.
For the showroom. But otherwise, the showroom was never open on Sunday because remember, this was high-end stuff we were selling.
Yeah.
You weren't selling your typical...
You're not expecting a walk-in client, really. Yeah.
That was during the week if it happened, but anybody who wanted any special attention, by appointment, we would open on a Saturday. I think the entire time I was there, I never worked on a Sunday, being in retail.
But Saturdays, you had some days when
some days,
you had
yes.
to.
Yes.
How was it navigating hierarchies at this particular point?
So, I mean, when I got into this company, there were 3 people in the company when it came to senior management. There were the 2 directors and there was me.
So just direct.
Yeah, so I was, from the time I was hired as their general manager.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I went from junior interior designer from this firm to general manager of this company. So for me, I was like, wow, that's a jump. That's, it's something to be happy and proud about. So that was a very different path altogether. It was not something that I had ever thought I would ever be part of. But I'm very grateful for it because it gave me my break back into interior design through a channel I never thought I would have had to step into. So it was interesting.
Do you mind me asking, this social setting where you met, was it family or was it networking or what was it?
No, it was actually weirdly enough, it was actually through a family friend. But we were actually at an event that I had tagged along with her. I was not invited for that event, but I had tagged along with her.
So it's not work related.
It was not work related at all. No, it was just purely on a social thing.
Guys, you see, you don't have to do this whole networking. It doesn't mean now I call someone and let's go and discuss interior design. Things
You know,
happen.
I'll be honest with you. You will make contacts, meaningful contacts in places that you would have least expected. And I'm telling you that from my personal experience. A lot of the people that I've met who've actually turned out to be clients or meaningful contacts have come out of a place that has nothing to do with an interior design networking event. I'm being serious. It's very rare that you're going to meet somebody who's beneficial in that way on these events. I'm not saying you won't. Yes, you can, but just keep your eyes open and your ears open.
Do you think it's because maybe the networking events are so rigidly
Yes.
we're going to network,
Yes.
and for this other one, it becomes so natural, so such that whatever you do that's so good, it happens.
Yes. And also, you know, sometimes you realize that it's also just you being in the right place at the right time. And has nothing to do with you being at a interior design networking event again. It's you just being, you could have gone for example, your friends invited you for a do at her house.
Yeah.
And you go and she's like, you know, I've got some friends over, come join me for, you know, an evening together. And you rock up at her house, and next thing you know, you've made a meaningful contact. It's somebody either giving you business or is giving you a lead to something. And this has happened on more than one occasion for me. And that's why I say that I think keep your mind open. Don't think that I'm only going to meet people at an event, at a networking event. That's not how it works.
So we are here looking for interior design networking events in 2026.
You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this particular play, although let me just put a caveat, as much as you're saying it was such a huge shift from junior interior designer to general manager, the years were not few. Because I'm counting it's like 7, right? Because 4 and 3. Yeah, so it's a long time still. It's just that the other place didn't have hierarchies. You could have been jumping to positions.
Something else, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But you see, over this period of time, this is what I'm trying to say to you, is also, I think because I was open to the experiences as well, you learn a lot. You learn a lot of things that are somehow connected to interior design either way. I mean, being in that retail, one thing I learned was the do's and don'ts of kitchen design, for example, right? You know, the do's and don'ts of plumbing, for example, sanitary fittings, you know. You learn a lot of technical stuff which really helps you when you're designing now. Like a lot of the things that I do with kitchen design and bathroom planning now comes from my training back then, because even for bathrooms, I had to go to Germany for training. So the company that we were representing here, they took me to Germany for training. And I remember that was almost 2 weeks as well. But I mean, that was a great experience. And
so why I'm saying wow is you've gotten direct training in very different things. Like,
yes,
you understand? It's not like a fun trip. It's very niched training.
Yes. But if you're like me and you enjoy it, you won't think of it as training. It would just be, it was actually, even now when I recall it, it was a very, very fun experience for me.
Oh, wow.
Because one, I mean, I went to Italy, which I always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I got an excuse to go on, you know, because of work.
Yeah.
But it was still, I was like, yay, I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
And I'm learning. So I was okay. I was having a good time.
Yeah.
And then I went to Germany, and I'd never thought, you know, I'm not in a bad way, but Germany was never on my bucket list as such. But I was like, oh, here I am in Germany.
Yeah.
And, you know, it just happened, and I just enjoyed it. And yes, I did learn a lot. And what I learned there still plays a very big part in how I carry out a lot of my design today.
Now,
Yeah.
these two places, what would you say was your area of unexpected growth? Like you look back, you're like, okay, this forced me to learn A or B or C.
There could be so many. I could probably tell you so many experiences.
Top of your head.
There's so many. From the top of my head, I'm trying to think. Wow, there's I could probably write a book. There's each project that you work on. I'll be honest with you. Even if you have smooth sailing projects, projects that finish on time, which is rare, but if they do, and there's no hiccups on site, and things like that, there's still so much you walk away with from every project. Because every project teaches you, like, there's things that I could be doing as a designer that I've been doing, like, my entire design life, and there'll come this project where I'll try and repeat the same set of works again on this project, and I find it's not working. And then you take a step back and you think, okay, wait, what am I doing wrong? What is not working? What is happening? But it could be anything. It could just be the client has a different approach to how they want to work on that project. Your consultants that you're working with, your fellow consultants, your team that you're working with brings out a whole other aspect. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you start seeing are different. And then you have to just guide yourself accordingly. Like, okay, so how do we get over this bump? Like, what do I do now? And I think each project teaches you that very, very differently.
So in essence, if I'm to summarize it, I'm picking that you're saying adaptability.
Absolutely. Yeah. Simply put.
Okay. You mentioned something that even like on the team of consultants, there's someone who can maybe pick another, make you, what's the word? Bring out another side of you.
Yes.
Have you ever experienced, would you have an example of your experience of, okay, I never even thought I was this, whether it's good or it's bad, like, okay, this one pushed me to be this.
It happens, especially when I remember when I was when I was still very, very new in the field, and we had to work with some of these architects who've, very senior architects who've been around for a very long time, well established. And I remember there was a time we were working on this project, and one of the architects, like, I remember he had asked me to do something, and he said, so can you give me the detail for, we were doing somebody's house, and he said, can you just sketch the detail for how you want me to, how you see that detail to turn out. I remember being so nervous, thinking, oh my God, I'm supposed to sketch this detail for this guy. Like, I was like sweating it.
Yeah.
I think my hand was shaking for a bit, because when he looked at me and he goes, you've got the detail, that was your idea, you can draw it. He said, just picture me not being here. Oh. He goes, you can do it, just sketch it. He goes, I know you're going to sketch the detail, I know exactly what you're going to do. He said, don't think of me. And he kind of figured like I was getting intimidated by him standing right there. And eventually I did sketch it, obviously with shaky hands, but I did it. But it made me realize that, sometimes this is why I said earlier on as well, sometimes you just got to take a breath. And remember, one thing is that as a designer, whatever you're going to do is not wrong. You're just different.
Yes. And just on that, let me cut you short a little. When you're working maybe with architects or engineers who have lots more experience, and they're asking you for a detail, or they're asking you, what should we do? You sit and you're wondering, but you know what to do. Why are you asking me? You feel like, why are you asking me?
But you see, this is, Abigail, this is another thing where you realize how important you are on a project.
Yeah.
This actually teaches you that your role is bigger than you thought it was.
Exactly.
When somebody senior can turn to you and say, Abigail, now what?
Then you're like, oh my God.
So that's the moment where you have to like suck it up and be like, okay, you're oh my Godding in your head, but you don't want him to see that. So I think that's why I say, like, own your space. You have to own your space. Completely. That's very important. And confidence is something you have to have. And that's why I was saying to you earlier, you being a designer, you're not wrong. You're just different, right? Because how you see a space, how I see a space, it's different, but it's not wrong. So put your ideas where they're supposed to be and let that flow.
And I think that's why it's so important even for clients to understand that every designer would design your space, that same space, completely different. So you really also need to go with who you feel would be the best fit. It's
Absolutely.
not a matter of, okay, let me just give it to Abigail.
No.
Sometimes Abigail may be your friend, but she's not the best fit. Or you know Abigail from a previous experience, but she's not, you know, or Jazz.
But also as designers, as much as we may have our personal styles, I had a potential client recently who's building a home and he's looking for an interior designer. So he reached out to me and he said, so, you know, we're looking for an interior designer, everything. So I said, okay, perfect. You know, this is my portfolio. This is my experience. You know, you give the little talk that you have to have with your clients and you tell them a bit about yourself. And he says, okay, so I need to see what you've worked on in the past. I said, absolutely. I've done a number of private homes, so I can give you a list of references and you please feel free to speak to whoever you want and they're willing to show you their houses. You see what happens with private homes? Not everybody's willing for you to come and see their houses. So I have a select few clients who on special requests will allow clients to go see their house. I mean, which happens once in a blue moon, but they will allow it. So I had reached out to these clients beforehand and said, you know, there'll be a particular person coming to see your house, so please let them see your house. But I did say to this potential client, I said, one thing you need to understand about private homes is that what you like is not what they like. And also my style is not implemented in every house that I do.
Correct.
I have to follow the lead of my client.
The brief.
Yes. Whatever style my client wants, if they want modern, they want art deco, they want baroque, whatever they want, I have to follow their lead and then I will then take it and run. But I'm not going to sit there and say, anyway, that's your style. I think you should do this. I don't do that. That's not what designers are supposed to do. So I did mention to him, I said, look, when you go there, you'll find each house is very different, and it is. I said, each house is designed very differently. So he said, okay, no, I understand it. So he comes back after about, I think, a month. And he says, I need to meet you and stuff. And he says, oh, so I did go and see these houses. And I just want to tell you something. All these houses were very different. Like, there was no,
he couldn't
similarity.
Say...
Yeah, he said there was no similarity in these houses. I said, yes. And there was never meant to be any. But he seemed upset by the fact that the houses didn't have similarity because he was looking for jazz in every house. And I was trying to say to him that as an interior designer, I have certain things I'll do in my design, like my use of natural materials, like natural stones, timber, you know, those kind of things, which I love using in all my projects. But I'll use it differently in every space. I won't use it the same way. But that's just something I do. But I won't leave an imprint that says, this is jazz.
Here.
Yeah. You know?
So you typically don't.
Yeah. So he was looking for that. And then he said, okay, so he said, I'm not sure about this. So he didn't want to give me that project because he was too iffy about the fact that I couldn't give him a definitive style. So he didn't like that. He didn't like that unsureness on his part. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because I'm trying to think, like for me personally, I think you'll see, you see there you use a lot of natural wood, natural stone. I'm not a wood and stone kind of person.
Yes.
I'm more very clean, very, you know. So the moment you bring timber in a project, I panic. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, you're using wood.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because wood, you need to appreciate timber for what it is. You can't paint over it. You know, it's like you're losing it. It's like you're losing... Okay, in my opinion, it's like you're losing the essence of the...
Absolutely.
Of the timber.
You want to use it in its natural form most of the time.
Yeah, you can stain a little bit. Yes. You can varnish, etc. So, timber for me, I'm panicky. So, you would know. If you see one that has a lot of timber, it is not me.
Yeah,
For example.
I won't overdo it. I'll use it like tastefully. Like I always say, don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Like use it for features or, in some of your finishes, your trimmings, those kind of things.
But I do appreciate, funny enough, in others, like when other designers use it, because I'm not able to, should I say not able? you understand? I wouldn't use it.
Yeah,
but
it's
when
not
I
your thing.
appreciate, but when I see anyone else doing it, I'm like, oh, okay. And then it has this rich smell. Like it smells so old money kind of.
Yeah.
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 So typically like older clients really wouldn't go so well with me, because me, I'm very clean.
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. You'll meet people who are like almost like, they're like in their 70s now. And you'd think they have a certain style that's, from like back in the day. But I've met clients who are a lot older and they have grandkids and everything, but the grandkids are the ones that like the more traditional sense of style.
Oh.
And the older generation actually wants something a bit more contemporary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you'll be surprised. I mean, just don't think that this is my market.
This guy
Yeah, you're not looking where you should be looking.
And with that, let me just take a quick break to insert this message for you guys, yeah? Hi, I'm Abigail Osidiana, and I host the Studio Little Bold podcast, where we talk to interior designers and share their stories to help others learn and grow. Right now, we are looking for interior designers who want to tell their stories. So if you've had ups and downs, if you've learned big lessons, or followed a different path, we want to hear from you. We are not looking for perfect people. We are looking for real stories. Stories that can help new designers feel brave, excited, and ready to try. And if you like what we do, you can help us keep it going. Your support helps us to create more episodes and reach more listeners. Click the link in bio to join the show as a guest, or support us through our paybill number that's listed on the screen. We sincerely appreciate your support, because even the smallest contribution makes a big difference. Let me take you back a little bit. So you've worked at these two places. You've gone to Germany for your training. And do you live at this point, or you still go to a third place? You leave completely, because you've been doing other projects now on the side.
Yes. So so from this point, I actually then, once I left the retail side of it, then I went full-fledged into interior design.
How was the jump?
It was doable.
Because you already had projects.
Yes. Because remember, while I was in this, with this other company, I had already started my own, I'd registered my company. And then what happened was I'd started working on these projects. And then I think because there was a lot more work coming in, I felt like, okay, now I won't be able to balance it out. So I had to make a decision. Are you going to go down this way, or do you want to start getting back into interior design? And I mean, I always wanted to get into the interior design, so there was no question there for me. So I started working fully in my interior design business then.
At this point, do you hire anyone, or you're just Jaz?
At this point, it was just me.
Ooh.
So like I said, when you're younger, you really do have the energy. You really do have the energy to do like all of these things. Like you're doing the drawings, you're going to site, and I think it was just the novelty of that situation. Like it just feels so good. Your own boss. It was my first time being my own boss.
Yeah.
It's my thing. This is my baby now. So it's you're calling all the shots, and I think that was exciting for me. So I just thought to myself that, okay, so this is it.
You're not even giving anyone work, freelancing work.
At
that point.
No, at that point, because I just tried out for, I know it sounds really weird, but because I think I came from my first job was where I was literally doing a lot of drafting. Like, I think my computer skills had gotten so much better, and I'd become a lot quicker at ArchiCAD because we were using it a lot. Like, I mean,
and the shortcuts, your hands are just moving like this.
You're not even looking anymore. It's just like that. You're just
Control
your eyes.
Shift D, Control S, Control.
That's it, right?
Control Z.
Yeah, literally, and you've become so good at it that to draw something rather than, because I remember at this point I don't have the capital to set up like a like a whole thing at this point, because I'm still starting out. My projects have just kick-started, so it's not like they're done and completed. They're still on their way up. So I was trying to minimize my expenses at this point. So what I did was I started doing everything myself, and it worked for me for a while. And then slowly, obviously, as the years went by, I realized, okay, now you can't do that. Yeah.
But at least you're a bit stable, you're feeling a bit better, you have cash flow.
Exactly.
You're not going to keep the people without money.
Yes, yeah. So that's very empowering. Now you're not waiting for the end of the month where somebody's going to pay you. You're actually the one now saying, oh, it's almost end of the month. Who's supposed to pay me?
In fact,
where is the money coming from?
For me, when 20th reaches, I'm just like,
yeah,
because it's like money going out.
Exactly.
It's not money coming in.
Exactly. So, but remember when you're just starting out, it's your first, like you're now your company, and like I said, you're your own boss. Yeah, you really, it teaches you a lot. It teaches you a lot. I mean, yeah, I've made plenty of mistakes, obviously, but we all learn from them. We still make mistakes. But definitely a good experience overall. I'm still grateful for them. I don't really regret even the things that didn't go according to plan. I just think that God had a reason that he made me go through those things at work. So you come out a stronger person, I think.
So at this point, let me say, let me give you a timeline. Maybe 2 years into your own business, biggest lesson or aha moment or shock, just like, okay.
2 years in, wow.
Or 3 years in, just very early.
Yeah.
I don't want jazz of today. I want jazz of starting your own business.
Okay, one thing is I had to learn very quickly was, which is really funny, because initially it was like, oh, you get a monthly salary and everything, because, you just wait, it hits your bank account and you're like, okay, so, you make these bad financial decisions. And then now you're on your own again and you think, yeah, I can do the same thing. The money comes in, I can spend it however I want. And then you realize, no, wait, hang on, I really cannot do that. And then you learn it the hard way, because you make some really terrible financial decisions, and then you learn, you're like, oh,
yeah,
I shouldn't have done that.
And the repercussions are all on you.
Exactly. So that's what makes you really, really pull up your socks. And I think that was the lesson that I learned like 2 years in. I'd say that was, for me, was like, oh my God, like, okay, now.
Yeah, because for interior design, money can come all at once. A lot of money.
Yes.
And then you can have months of drying up. I don't know if you've had that experience.
It always happens, because it depends where your projects are at, right?
Yeah.
And it can happen with multiple projects at the same stages. And then you have stages that just drag on. And obviously we get paid at the end of a stage. You cannot ask for money like, at the start or midway before you've done your job. So yeah, you're right, it does happen.
Wait, so you don't ask for an advance payment?
I mean, no, of course, at the start of a project. But what I mean is, when the project is running,
you can just decide.
Like, you see, I follow the REBA work stages, right? Which is like, you have, your concept, you have scheme design, product information, all of that, right? So you can only bill your client after you've completed a stage. I cannot be like, okay, so I'm doing the concept, but before I do the concept, can you please give me my money? But be like, no, I'm not going to do that. So you have to complete a stage. But before you start a project, yes, you should
get the advance.
You should always do that, yes.
Soft skills in your business. What's the biggest soft skill that you've had to embrace? You may know it, you may be practicing, but you're like, this one, if I don't get it right, I'm in problems.
I'm trying to think, soft skill. Wow.
Don't give me anything technical. Not about drawing. Nothing about design. Soft.
I do think, and I think I've said this to a few people as well, like when I've hired people onto my team a lot of the time, you have to really be good at talking to people. As much as like earlier we were saying, you'd be so nervous on the inside, but I think as designers, it's so important to know how to speak to someone, because that's actually what sells your work to somebody, more than them seeing what you're capable of doing, is how you interpret anything that you say. Like, even when you're speaking to somebody and they're trying to say something to you, how you interpret it and how you turn that into a design on site. And I do think speaking to people is very important. I've met people who I've worked with in the past as part of my team, where we're on site and they've been asked a question. And intentionally, I mean, we as the design team have been asked a question, and I've intentionally turned to somebody on my team to answer it, just to see. Again, I was thrown in the deep end. I'll do the same to somebody else just to see, right? Not to be mean, but it's part of the process.
To also learn.
Yes.
Otherwise, they'll never learn.
Exactly.
And it's not fair.
And that really brings out, it shows you a lot about who is on your team. And it also teaches them about what their capabilities are. Because in design, remember, on site, you have to be vocal. You have to be able to understand and interpret and, discuss. You can't just use actions. You can't be mute. Those kind of things don't work on site. So I find that on site, we've had different scenarios where I've met people who have been asked a question like, oh, so we're facing this problem. Like, this isn't going to work. So what should we do? And they've been like, I don't know, I'll get back to you. Or, it's like, or, they'll just close in. And that's not what your client wants to hear. And I'm not saying you should always have the right answer. And I'm not saying it's bad for them to say, I'll get back to you later. But it's also engage the client a little bit. Ask them, okay, what is your problem? Why is that not sitting well with you? Like, learn how to engage, learn how to speak. That's why I say I think talking to the clients is it's a good skill to have. It helps.
You know what I took from you is not only talking to clients. For me, in general, from your point, I would say talking to anyone, because you're also talking with your team, your
of course,
juniors.
talking to everyone, yes.
Everyone. You're also
Absolutely.
talking to the fundis. You're talking to, communication is every single place.
It's very important.
Yeah. Even on site at the gate.
Yes.
You talk to these guys, or they just decide you won't enter the site.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if you're good at speaking, you could get your way around just about anything, right? So it's important to be able to do that. And I think with design, especially with design, like when you're doing, for example, when you're doing your mood boards, your concept presentation, at that point, you don't have a render. You only have concepts, which are, you could have picked it off an internet. You've taken a picture of an existing place. You've got materials on the table. You're trying to sell the design to your client. You're not going to be like, okay, here's a picture. Now, go and interpret it yourself. You don't do that.
Because also the material board may not have exactly what's on the image. So you're like, okay, this is what we may need to use for this particular area. I didn't get exactly this, but this is what I want us to do.
So because you're trying to show the client that, look, this is what you wanted. But like, for example, if they're only looking at locally sourced items, so you've put your mood board together and you're trying to sell that painting to them, that picture to them. You have to be talkative. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to sell your design. You have to have the skills to know how to speak to someone, because the minute you're telling them, okay, so this is what it is, you can't just be like, okay, so you wanted this, but I got you that. And you just look at them and say, okay, we're good to go. Because it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So, I do think that's a skill that is important.
How did you turn challenges into like valuable learning experiences? Maybe you can give one. This was a crazy challenge and this is how I turned, okay, I learned something from this. I'll never repeat it again.
I think every challenge teaches you a lot. Like,
give me a heart-breaking, heart-pounding challenge that you're feeling like, oh my God, tomorrow I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Okay, I mean, one of the most not so old experiences I can tell you, challenges that I faced was, I was doing a show house for a developer. I was the interior designer for the entire project, but as is the case for all developments, they always do a show house first because that's where the sales start from, right? So that's a normal process. You start with the show house. And I was working on doing the show house with him. And he had a team. So I started, obviously I had a whole design plan for them, what the finishes are. Everything was locally sourced. And it was on a very tight timeline. So I was very involved, getting this, getting that done. Now, the client had a project manager that was a man who, for some reason, doesn't like independent women or women with a voice. And everybody who knows me knows I have an opinion on just about everything, right? So anyway, so I was doing my job. I was doing what I was supposed to. So let's say if I chose this table, he would say, no, we're not going for that table. We're going for that one. He kept doing that.
The project manager.
Yeah. And I kept saying to him, but I call the shots here. And I even said that to the client. I call the shots. And he said, yes, you do. So I said, okay, fine. So I put everything together, started getting the finishes done. At this point, we hadn't reached furniture. So we were just doing finishes, flooring done, the joinery done, ceilings, everything, lighting. I got everything done in order. Now, at this point, there was 2 payments that were supposed to be done to me. But because the timelines were so close together, I said, it's okay. I know the client. I'll bill him all at once for everything that I've done. So when it came to the completion of that work stage, I went to him and I said, okay, so these are the invoices and you owe me the money.
Who is this now? Their project
The client.
manager?
No,
You're talking to the client?
To the client directly. I like to keep a link to the client directly. I unless it's extremely necessary for a middleman, I try and avoid a middleman. I like to be the person that's talking directly to who's in charge, right? It just makes life a lot easier that way. So what happened was this, the client said to me, okay, but we need to sit with first he receives the invoices and he says, okay, so I've got them. Everything is in order. So I said, okay, fine. He said, give me a week. I'll sort you out. I said, okay, perfect. And then after a couple of days later, he said, oh, by the way, I need you to sit with my team because there's some misunderstanding somewhere. So I said, yeah, that's okay, which is normal. It happens. I said, I'm sure, something doesn't make sense. I'm sure I can clear the air. So we had a meeting and he says, my team doesn't understand what you bring to the table. So this is after we've done majority of the show house, right? The only thing missing in the show house at this point is furniture. So everything else is done. So I said, I don't understand what you mean. And now the project manager is sitting there and he's got this grin on his face. Because he's saying to the client that whatever you see in the show house is mine. I brought it. I chose it. I selected it. She's done absolutely nothing. So the good thing is I had WhatsApp conversations as proof. And I showed it to him. I said, you're on this conversation. This is you. You've approved this. It's my selection. This is my document. Look at what I've specified. Look at what's on site. It's according to my concept. And initially the client agreed to it. And at the end of this meeting, the client says to me, I cannot pay you for something that he refused to pay me. He said, you haven't done anything on site. And even though we had a contract in place, there was nothing I could do about it. And that for me was very, very disturbing. Because I thought there are clients like that.
Let's go to these client stories now. Let me tell you. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, no, but I mean, look,
But it happens, but there are clients. Actually, for me, last year was my biggest eye-opener on that regard.
Mm-hmm.
I always, how do I say it? I always run business thinking that we are all running business with integrity. It's not the case.
That's not the case. No, it's not.
It's not the case. There are people who feel like you owe them, like I'm doing you a favor. There are those who feel like I'll take advantage. I can get free things. Do you know who I am?
Yes.
So I always, sorry to say, had some level of naivety with regards to now real business.
We all did.
Yeah. Because, when you're employed somewhere else, maybe you're handling that part. Because at some point I was an operations manager. So I was dealing also with all the payments coming in and stuff. And I came to realize, I thought it's going to be easy because I was already doing this. Then you come to realize that no, there's also some level of cushioning you're getting within a very big company because they don't want to spoil relations.
Exactly.
They feel maybe these guys have more power or a bigger legal team, so they'll just make their payment. Then it comes to you, same scope, same everything, but they're like, Abigail, I want to pay you. Yeah.
It happens. So again, this is why I was saying to you that those challenges that you face, this is what it teaches you.
So for you, how would you say, now what was your lesson there? Or how would you, what did you tell yourself, I'll never do this again?
You see, with what I came to realize is there can be a slip up, like on my part,
Combining the invoices.
and not even just the payment part of it, but also the documentation of it. Had I just, for that particular project, okay, as we're all aware, there's this influx of developments in Parklands, right? And because of the caliber of these projects that you're working on, their timelines are not realistic, but to some extent you have to kind of make do with them, like you kind of run with them, because you see with developments, it's a copy paste. So it's not like it takes a lot of your time because you know what's happening in one is happening in all of them. So it kind of it's not time consuming for you. So you kind of work with their timelines to some extent. What I learned is, and this was because of my own fault, is I kind of let go of my own protocols. I just turned a blind eye to my protocols, thinking it's okay, the client's a good person, he's gonna pay me, I should do my job, that's what I'm here for. And I didn't document the things like I normally do. I didn't minute the things that I normally used to do. It was just, everything was such a rush, and I just wanted to finish it and please the client and do my job. And I did that, and I basically fell on my face myself because of my own doing.
Yeah.
So I did learn that, and I whatever you do, you should just do it properly. There's no need for shortcuts. It doesn't matter
who it is. Don't shortcut it. Because let me give you just a similar experience. This was just last year. Actually, it really disheartened me for a while. In fact, I was just like, you know what? This is just
bad.
Yeah. So this particular client I've known for a very long time. Very, very long time. Of course, at that point, we were engaging on a different level because I think I was also employed. So different level. So I'm getting this project now as my firm. Yeah. Then we've worked. The first year, it's a very big project. First year, things are okay. You submit, you present. It's okay. You invoice your payment, it's done.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, things are okay. The person has integrity. This is how, and they also keep saying, I have integrity. Don't listen to what people say.
Actually, the minute they say it is the ones that you should be more worried about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we move along. Then he starts getting maybe partners and stuff. So the team is also growing bigger and stuff. There's also politics involved, and there's now opinions. So it's not a one-on-one engagement.
Yes. Yeah.
Then I remember my invoices were falling in a weird. So remember, first year I would invoice. Actually, in 2 days, invoice would come. Second, let me say first 6 months. Let me not say year. Yeah. Then now this period comes. I'm like, you know what? No pressure. Same thing. I'll just batch invoice them together because they're so close to each other. Oh my God, Jaz. Do you know this client started paying me like maybe, let's say on average, I would do a job this month. I would follow up for like 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And by the time now month 5 has reached, the second invoice is due. By month 7, another invoice. I don't even have the heart to invoice for the second invoice, for the third invoice, because I'm still chasing you for the very small payment
that was due a while ago.
So by the time you're paying me this one now, the next year has reached. It reached a point I was so disheartened. I'm like, why?
So what did you do?
There's a point I just said, you know what, I'm not attending anything, because I would attend the meetings, I would submit. Now I've given all my design documentation. All other clients I'm following up in stages and invoicing, collecting, and my contract is clear. I don't move to the next stage until you've signed off on my work and you've paid.
Yes.
This particular project, I've never ever gotten a sign off. It was those kinds of like, okay, here's your invoice, whatever.
Yeah.
Jaz, I told myself never
again.
Never again.
That's the thing.
Never again. So what happened is I continued. So I'm chasing for payments. Now I'm also just slowing down because I'm like, you guys have millions of revisions. First of all, I have 2 revisions policy in my document. Every other day you want to make it look so small. No. It's just for this one. Just separate this document for me. And
But they think it doesn't take time to do that. That's the problem.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
So this one time, last year, now I make a certain investment. Remember the year before, because it's big and construction is taking long.
Yes.
So I send this invoice and remember, I've been chasing for the other payment was a challenge. The other one was, but I'm telling myself, you know what? You can do this, just finish the project.
Yeah.
It's okay, but lesson learned, this one, never again. I'm sorry, but designers also can choose their clients.
Of course, absolutely.
I was like, this client, I don't care what project you're doing. Thank you, but no thanks, yeah?
Yes.
So I send my invoice, and then I realize no one is even responding, no one is whatevering. I'm like, okay. I call. They're like, it's not me handling give this. So I'm like, first of all, why do I need to know your internal politics of who's handling what? I just need one contact person of who I'm dealing with payments. I don't need to know if you're on leave or if you're on what. Like, those are too many details.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah. So we move on, chasing. Then eventually they tell me not, just call this guy. Because, I'm calling them and they're taking me around, but they've discussed internally for me not to be paid.
Gosh.
Yeah. So eventually, I send a reminder. So what I usually do, I send you the invoice.
Yeah.
I send you a snippet of the contract.
Yes.
I highlight, this is the stage I'm billing you for.
Good.
And then I attach, this is what I have been doing for this stage.
Yes.
You needed me to give you A, B, C.
Yes.
Here they are.
Yes.
Just can you imagine, with all those three, one person responds on the email, kindly do not process her payment. We don't understand what she's doing.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard those stories. Oh my God, that makes your blood boil, right?
I'm like, then they say, you need to come in for us to discuss, for you to explain. I'm like, okay, Jazz, honestly.
Same situation.
What am I coming to explain? You have the screenshot of, or rather the snippet of the contract. It says this is stage, let's say, 6.
Mm-hmm.
Stage 6, you're supposed to give A, B, C, D.
Yes.
I've shown you attachments.
Yes.
This is stage A, B, C, D. Okay, what are we discussing? Seriously. I came eventually, but we don't even understand. I'm like, it's okay. What do you need clarified? Because at that point, I hadn't noticed there's a game now. I'd not noticed. I'm still working with integrity.
Yeah.
Jazz, they took me around for like 2 months.
Wow.
Oh, okay, now we need to meet, but we will discuss when we're all in. I don't know who is not around. No, you tell us. Stories. Week 1 past weeks 2. At some point, I said, you know what? I'm not going to move my things around for you guys. I'm supposed to travel. I remember I moved my travel 2 times for them because I'm like, okay, we're supposed to meet next week. It's okay. Let's clear the air. We don't have issues. As it reached a point, I was like, you know what? I'm not attending meetings. So they're like, some items have reviewed because we had traveled abroad and some items had arrived. Now they're like, okay, now just come for this meeting. We review and then we will discuss the other thing later. I told them I'm not coming in.
My gosh.
Yeah, I'm not coming in. Then they're like, no. Everyone is going to be there. I'm like, it's okay. If you guys want to proceed with the meeting, you can proceed with the meeting. I am not going to be in attendance. Because you have an issue even with me coming for the meetings, yeah? So can we come and air out? Is the issue there are too many meetings that you're calling for me? I never bring myself. You're the one who's calling for the meetings.
Yes.
Is there an issue with my documentation? Is there an issue with what I've submitted? Is there an issue with what I've purchased? Like what is
anything related to my scope?
With my scope, what is the issue?
Yeah.
They're like, no. Eventually we did have, because I refused to review this work now. They're like, okay, what do we do? They eventually do call me for the meeting because I tell them I'm not attending any meeting until we sort out what this problem is. You're saying I should not be paid because you don't understand what I'm doing. Why are you calling me for the other meeting? What are you calling me?
Yeah.
So eventually come. Do you know they tell me they don't even understand what the hassle is? My check is ready.
Wow. So make you look like an idiot.
That time, I have printed documents, proof. I have done folders for everyone. I know how many people are coming. I have your copy. My printer in the house is just
non-stop
running. I didn't even go to the office. I'm just running the printer. I've used like a whole bundle. Your copy to show everything that I've done. I told myself, this is useless work. Honestly.
But the really sad thing is, okay, our work is not like a surgeon's work, for example, where, like you can't really tell what happened on the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our work is very physically, like it's right there. It's in front of you. You can see it. Like if I design this, I can show it to you. It's here. It's visible. And it's tangible. So there's no way you can hide the fact that I did my work. So when somebody's making a fool out of you, that, but what did you do? Or where's your work? Or you can't play dumb with interior design or design generally. You can't do that. So it's very confusing when people do that.
Oh,
But I've learned there's a reason I find that a lot of clients have started doing that. And what it is obviously we all have the work stages that we work with, right? Starting with our concepts and our schemes and everything else that follows through. Now, there's a notorious bunch of people that we get in our country that have formed this habit of engaging an interior designer. And they'll be like, okay, so yes, we want you for the project, and they agree a fee with you, they've signed a contract with you, everything. But after they've reached a certain stage and they feel they've gotten enough information, they will somehow find an excuse to either drop you from that project, like just go like AWOL somehow, or, terminate a contract because they find that they use deception to get you on the project because you were supposed to stay there till the end. They signed a contract, they agreed a fee, and they've now just paid a certain amount to a certain time, got what they wanted, and they don't see need for you anymore. So they've taken you off the project. So I do find that has happened a couple of times in the past. I've even heard a few of my friends in the field also complain about the same thing. But this, I think, is very common in people who are developers, who are doing like high rises and stuff, not people who are building who are doing commercial or hospitality or private residences. You don't get that kind of issue on such projects.
Yeah, because for residentials, I know the biggest challenge with residentials maybe is cash flow. So it may take longer. They want to do it in stages.
Yes.
For developers, they just don't want to pay.
Yes.
Full stop.
Or they try and see where they can save their money.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's so disheartening. And this time you have so much work. They want so much repeating. They want to call you because for me, I charge. I don't know how you charge your clients in terms of like for site meetings. Do you do per meeting or do you put it together as a scope?
So usually it depends on if I'm there from the start of a project, then it's included to a certain extent of the project, like within a time frame. But if it exceeds beyond that, then yes, every site visit is charged per hour then. Yeah.
Also, for me, what I typically do is I give a bulk for, let's say, design execution, meaning site visit, sourcing, etc.
Yes.
But what I realized is if you don't cap clients, they'll keep calling you every 2 days. Come, there's this, let's meet on site, let's do this. So what I do is I cap each stage. Like, for example, if it's sourcing, let's say, depending on your project scope, we'll agree. Maybe, let's say, 30 sourcing visits. Maybe 10 in Kenya, 10 in Dubai, and then 10 we are keeping it open for whatever reason. Yeah. Then if it's site meetings, maybe I say 20 site visits or 24 have been allowed. Now, this particular client starts asking, they keep insisting, come for meetings. And I'm like, at this stage of the project, there's nothing for me to come to do on site. There's nothing. No, you guys need to come and don't send your staff and don't do whatever I want the directors of the company to come, right?
Wow.
Then they complain, like, but why are you charging? Why are you counting them? You see, because, for example, they're 24. Why are you counting?
Because it's a meeting. You've
called me for a meeting.
It's a meeting. It has to be counted.
It has to be counted. Exactly. So it was, no, but now we don't understand why you're charging us per visit. Remember, I'm not asking for money per visit. I'm just counting them. We are just striking like the prison strikes.
And you have to.
Yes. So they're like, no, but the architect isn't counting per meeting. I'm like, but everyone's contract is different.
And I'm not the architect.
I'm not the architect.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even think you're paying me anywhere close
to what you're paying the architect.
So we can't even be comparing notes. So at some point I sat and I was like, I think some are also just taking advantage. They feel like, okay, you know what? And I remember this particular client is like, there are many people who in Nairobi who are offering to do for me free work. I'm like, okay,
go for it.
Yeah.
I've had a client say that to me once. He wanted us to do a project and I gave him our quotation for how much we would charge him to do the job. And he calls me and he says, oh, but I found somebody else who's better and cheaper. I said, then why are we having this conversation? But it's true.
It's easy.
I mean, if you found somebody better and cheaper, then you found what you're looking for.
Why are you coming back to me?
Why are you coming back to me?
Yeah.
So and he goes, what do you mean? Like, he got upset with me, but I was like, but I don't know what to say to you because
he expected you to say, oh, no, how much was it? Maybe I can go lower.
That's what he said to me as well. He said, I thought you would have said you're going to go lower. But I said, but if you found somebody cheaper and better, why I wouldn't bother going lower. But it's true, right?
At least if you said, I found someone cheaper, I would say, but I'm better. You've said cheaper and better.
Yeah.
Why?
And to some extent, not in a bad way, but you have to have self-respect as well. You cannot just be like, oh, okay, but what is the price? Okay, I'll match it.
No.
You can't do that.
No.
You have to keep, your caliber where it is as well.
Yeah.
Because then if you start matching these prices, then you're not really distinguishing yourself from anybody then.
You're not. So I remember I just told myself, you know what, this one, no matter how hard I try, this is just not it. You know? So it's those ones of like, whatever you can finish off, just finish off. But you know what? Next project, if you offer, it's never that serious. Because I remember funny things. So they offer, because what we had agreed on our first contract was, I'll give you another one, or I'll give you a couple of more. So you don't worry, there's works in the pipeline. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, cool. So when this other one comes, like, oh, by the way, remember I told you I'll give you something else? Okay, go and quote for it. So I give this particular quotation. Then he comes like, no, you're too expensive. I'm like, what did you have in mind? Because this looks like a reasonable amount. Then he gives me this thing about many people in Nairobi want to do work for him for free. Then I'm like, oh, okay. And then guess what he said to me next? You will not believe. He tells me, Abigail, all work I give you, don't expect to make any money from it. Go and make money from other clients.
What?
I'm telling you.
Wow.
I lost respect.
Completely. I can imagine.
I can't look at them again.
No, you can't.
Same. You
can't.
Understand? Like, because I can see even in this other project, is that the reason why you feel like you want me to chase you for payments for months? Is that why, you want to keep calling me for me?
You can't ever justify disrespect.
Yeah.
You can never justify it. There's no reason that you can give anybody and say, I was disrespectful to Abigail because of A, B, and there's nothing that justifies it.
And I just told him, you know what, I'm sorry, but no. So he tried to offer me another one, and then I was like, okay, what's the brief? Yeah? What's the brief? Because I was like, you remember I was telling you, I'm not moving forward with them on anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just there being politically correct.
Yes.
Yeah? Then he tells me, they refuse to give me a brief. I told myself, you know what, I'm not working on any project without a brief. You understand? So 1, you want me to chase on payments. 2, you're telling me you're getting free work. 3, you feel like I should never make money. And then 4, I'm asking you for a brief. You're like,
there's no brief.
Go
figure it out.
They give me a 1-sentence brief.
Wow.
They tell me this is the style. I was like, you know what? This is the end of this.
Then why bother, right?
Why are you bothering with me? Is it that you're trying to intimidate me? Is it you're trying to push? Is it you're trying to exert your authority? Are you just being disrespectful?
Disrespectful. Yeah, that's plain disrespect.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
I know. 2025, I left. After that particular, I told myself, I'm going to take a break. I'm like, if this is the caliber of people,
but
that
have you
running,
noticed? Okay, I don't know how many years you've been practicing for.
10.
Okay, yeah, that's a good amount of time. But from the time that you started, the first 5 years to now, can you see how the caliber of clients also is changing, and the amount of disrespect is ridiculous.
Crazy.
Like, I sometimes think, like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but they've been clients who think that because they've hired you, they own you, and they can call you at any weird hour of the night and expect you to answer the phone call. I mean, somebody would ask for a meeting on a Sunday at 4:00.
Yeah.
You're like,
how?
Why? Like, who does that? I mean,
I just tell them no.
And if you're busy and you've not got the time, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Figure it out. You can't have somebody else at your beck and call. And then if you make an excuse that you're not available, one, it's the weekend, you've got a family, that's your personal time. Then they start having a go at you.
Jazz is difficult. Jazz
is difficult. She's up herself. She doesn't want to give me time for my project. And you see, that shows you that this is why I say there's no excuse for disrespect.
Yeah.
And I think even the younger generation now coming in should also learn that yes, when you're young and you're like, oh, I'll take on anything because, I need to make something for myself. you should never put up with this kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
Set your boundaries from the word go. It's so important.
I found the title for your thumbnail. There is no excuse for disrespect. Done.
But I think that's a life lesson.
I love it. Because
Generally in life.
Because, for me, I'm very like type A and ABCD. And, people make you question yourself like, oh, am I too harsh? Or am I too, towing the line? And this is, because me, I like let's sign off. Let's proceed, sign off.
Yes.
Check, approve. I don't like the clients of, just proceed. No, what are we just proceeding? You have to also take a look at your project.
Yes.
Or give someone who you trust to take a look at the project and say yes or no, we don't like this. Because at the end of it all, they come later and say, oh, but I didn't think it was going to be this. What do you mean? You've been in the project the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, there's some clients who you can accept that from. Like there's like clients who you've had for many years and you've done multiple projects with. You have their trust and they have yours. So they trust you blindly as a designer and they know, okay, if Abigail's handling this for me, I don't need to physically be there at all times.
Yeah.
Yes, I might need to send my approvals for certain things. And it goes, but newer clients that you don't know or don't have a history with, those are the ones I think you have to be very, very cautious with.
Like there's one actually on that was like, oh, but you're the designer. I'm like,
yes.
I'm the designer. Okay, and then what? I love that response. Yes. Then what?
It's true though.
Oh my goodness. We can have chats about this every day, but
I think we'll need a whole other podcast just for that.
We need a whole other podcast for that. And also, money in interior design is such a slippery topic that
we were talking about this just the other day with somebody and with some architects as well. And how it was nowadays you end up the fee that you'll charge for a certain project has become slightly lower in the sense like it's a lot lower than what you would have charged back in the day, but the work that you're putting in is a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's happening like since like the past couple of years now. I mean, not all projects, but certain projects. And I don't know if you found that as well.
Completely. And the workload is like crazy.
Crazy.
And then you give a quotation which seems reasonable and someone is like, oh! And you're like, what do you mean?
And what were you expecting?
What were you expecting? Because actually, I remember there's one who was saying, for context, this work would run for give or take 3 months. 3 months of full dedication. And the guy tells me the most they can pay, I think, was 600K. So I asked him, okay, let's assume I don't have an interior design firm and I don't have staff, yeah? Because we have to split this amongst everyone because you're fully in it, yeah?
Yeah.
I just asked, how much do you think my salary should be? No, really?
Yeah, honestly.
Honestly, because it means you either want to pay me alone.
Yes.
And you're not even paying me.
Yes.
Fully.
Yes.
I was telling him, just put it into context. Okay, this lady that I've brought here, how much do you think she's supposed to be paid? And she's like, no, but it's too expensive. I'm like, okay.
Then find somebody else.
And and for context, just you understand when I say work of 3 months full. I'm not saying 3 months of a calendar. I mean, Monday we are on it. Tuesday we are on it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Next week. Not that I'll work only on the Mondays. There are works that you can just pick a few hours every week and you finish. This is compressed. I was like, this guy needs to stop. Meaning I'm not doing anything else.
This is why I think a lot of the time, it's very important for clients to also understand who is an interior designer and what are they doing. Because don't just bring an interior designer on board because, my friend did a house and he had an interior designer, so-and-so had an interior designer. To some extent, people talk about interior designers like it's like a trend. Like, Abigail did a house, she had an interior designer. So I need an interior designer. But yet you don't know, people don't know the difference between an interior designer and an interior decorator. Right? I've had clients I've had people who've asked particularly for my number and said, I need something done in my house. And I'll be like, please call me then. Because according to me, I think it's maybe you need to break down a wall and, redesign a space. So that's what I'm thinking you're doing in your house, like a renovation. So I'd say, please call me. And the guy's like, yeah, I really need this done really urgently. And I've had people call me and say, so this is a picture of my living room. And this is a true story. This lady sent me a picture of her living room and she said, do you see that back wall? So in my head, I thought, so she wants to break it down and do something, extend it. So I'm already playing a conversation in my head. And she said, do you see the image I've sent you? Do you see the picture, the back wall? I said, yes, I see the back wall. She said, what color should I paint it? I was like, wow. So I had to take a deep breath for a few seconds. Not that I don't like to tell people how to paint their walls, don't get me wrong. But that is a very small part of what we do as interior designers. And this is why I'm saying it's so important for people to learn the difference between interior designers and interior decorators, right? Because we bring a lot to the table. Decor is something we do, but we do it much later in a project. We work hand in hand with architects. We work hand in hand with your engineers. You know, we help with the services. Like we design that a lot of the time, your lighting, all of that. We're very involved. Decorators don't do that. You see what I mean? So it really needs to be differentiated. And up until people don't understand why they're bringing interior designers on board, I think half these
problems are going to be the end. Also, you're there and you're not willing to actually pay even the consultation fee for that.
Yes.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because I remember there's one actually still last year. You know, me, I usually also scrutinize. I was like, you know what, me, I don't take everything. It's okay. I'd rather have a few and that are doing, you know, a few projects that are of quality and we move on.
Exactly.
It's okay. I don't need the quantity. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
So this client calls me and tells me, could you, it's out of town, actually in Western. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she says, I need an interior designer, I need your services, I need it very urgently this weekend. So tell her, okay, actually, first of all, I'm not in town. And then two, for me to book an outside trip, it's not a matter of one day and then tomorrow I leave. Yeah. Then I ask her, what do you want? No, you come this guy. I'm like, no, what you need will guide what I'm preparing to come with for the meeting, you know, so that I set in place. Also, how much I'm going to charge you. Am I sleeping over? Is it a quick flight in
and out? Yeah.
She tells me, flight for what? I never drive with my car to clients' projects other than Nairobi. I never do. Yeah. You know, because it's also hectic. There are things you also do on the go, you know.
Well, I've driven my car out of into Tanzania.
Oh my God.
But we've actually billed the client for that. I mean, that's a disbursement at the end of the day in a way.
You drove it or you got someone to help you drive?
I drive.
I would not.
I do. I don't have a problem driving. But
first of all, I don't like road trips. I know it's not a trip per se. Yeah. I don't like. Oof.
Oh no, drive. I don't mind them.
I would never. You would
never. No, but the drive from here to Tanzania, like the Namanga border and into Arusha and Kilimanjaro, is beautiful.
Yeah.
I knew the traffic, to be fair, in Tanzania is a lot more organized than it is here. Like people obey speed limits and things, but
even right now you can't pay me to go on a road trip for fun.
Really? So you have to be driven.
I don't like road trips at all.
Wow.
So by the time you're telling me, even just me driving myself, I'm like, oh my God.
So even like a road trip to like Naivasha, you wouldn't do that?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
So if you made a plan, you'd get somebody to drive.
Okay.
If
it's me and you, if it's just me and you driving, I'll just tell you, just please do the driving. Thank you very much.
You won't drive yourself then. What is it? You don't like the roads or you don't like the...
So I have a lot of anxiety on like the oncoming traffic and the, you know, anyway, with that, let's just wrap it up, yeah? What would you give advice to aspiring interior designers? One piece. Or two if you want to do two. Just to wrap it up.
I think I would just say, you know, be yourself. Again, repeat myself, like I said earlier. I mean, you're a designer. What you're doing is not wrong. You're just different, and it's good to be different as a designer. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I would say.
So be yourself. Be comfortable to be yourself. You know. In the meantime, I'm going to drop your LinkedIn handle. Yeah, here on the screen. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Please watch, subscribe, comment what you loved about this particular episode, what you want to contribute, what you think about what you said, because we have very touchy subjects within this podcast, but you know, it's the reality of the industry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can't hide from it.
We can't hide from it. So just comment if you've had a similar experience, if you had a different experience, if you've been the client who's being a bit difficult, comment also. If you're a designer on the receiving end, also tell us, so that we can learn from each other. Sawa. Until next time, see ya.